Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another SLG Meetup. Today I have the absolute pleasure to be with the maestro, Kobi Karp. He's the founder and principal of Kobi Karp Architecture and Design Inc. He actually just got awarded by the American Institute of Architects Architect of the Year, so congratulations on that. And not only that, but with over 20 years of experience, him and his team have been recognized and featured among some of the most amazing magazines such as Forbes, the Wall Street Journal, New York Times, you name it. And this is due to the amazing projects that they've been doing, not just here in Miami, but around the world for high-rise condominiums, single-family homes, hospitality projects. Anyways, a really amazing portfolio. So I'm very excited to be here today with you.
Listen, with that kind of a prelude introduction, I have to step out of the room and come back. Number one, it's a great pleasure to be here. It's an honor. I appreciate what it is that you are doing because I think it creates a platform for individuals such as myself to talk about things that really create the most value for the most people all the time. And specifically, the value that we are talking about is sociological, it is the emotional, and how it is that we design for people to have a better quality of life. Today people call it wellness. Sometimes, many times, what it is that we talk about is to create the best design that we can that meets the environmental standards, but also meets the humane standards that we need to design about. So that has to do with making the quality of life the most appealable to the individual, whoever that individual is. Mm-hmm. That individual can be a handicapped individual, that person can be a child, that person can be somebody who wants to have a better quality of life in touch and in tune with the natural environment. So creating designs that are three-dimensional, that make you a better person on the inside is what we are about. So the design that we specialized in doing to date and that we have been successful in doing, that people say, oh wow, I like this house, I like this apartment, I like this hotel, is something really that is the most sustainable and resilient, not only environmentally to the outside environment, but also to the interior environment of the individual and the person. So specifically, if you look at the one hotel that we did in Miami Beach,
by the way, it's beautiful.
Very nice, architecturally very nice, is that it appeals to the senses. It appeals to all the senses of the individual. And people love that building, they love that facility, both inside and outside. Mm-hmm. At the ground level, and how it interacts with the beach club, and how it interacts with the rooftop. And that is something that is synonymous with what it is that we do for the community. We restore, preserve buildings, and we add on to them. We bring them back to life and talk about the history and the DNA, because we all are coming from a background. Right. And if we understand our background, and if we study our background, if we study the history of who we are, it will make us better community, better people, and better buildings into the future. So the way I design is that buildings are like people, and if you understand how people can then live within the buildings and interact, is the most important thing.
This is coming from the wise man himself, by the way. So, by the way, what you're saying is so true. And I believe that what you say is the art of the detail. And the detail comes in many shapes and forms. It's not just the design itself, but the emotions that it brings into the human lives, you know? And what you're saying is right. And that's why your brand has become so renowned, because it becomes not just a project, it becomes part of yourself.
It becomes to the individual, to the person, whoever that person is. And this is not something new. This is something that we as humans have been building for a long time. When you look at the Caribbean, we design the Caribbean, the resorts and hotels we design the Caribbean are open, cross-ventilated, with shadow boxes oriented towards the breeze, oriented towards the view. Let the light come in at the sunrise, let the light come in at sunset, and then create shadow boxes and give you outdoor spaces that are protected from the sun and the elements, whether it's the sun or the rain, even the blowing rain horizontally. That's very, very important to be sensitive to. And I believe that the future of design teaching, architectural teaching, interior design teaching, landscape architecture teaching will continue to be more involved into that kind of sensibility. It is something that we as a community have received a bit of a wake-up call due to COVID. But COVID is something that we have always had. We have had measles and mumps and various yellow fever. And I've been working from Angola to Minneapolis to Abu Dhabi to Saudi Arabia to Russia, Turkmenistan, Azerbaijan, Southeast Asia, Cambodia. All of those places, we've always had pandemics.
Yep.
We've always had disease. The only difference is now that we have this technology, you can see what's going on live anywhere else in the world. I believe that if you design towards those items that we are talking about, and if you are holistic in that thought process, the value that you are creating, knowingly or unknowingly, for the buyer, for the end user, is immense. And that is why I believe we have been successful in the past. I believe that's why we're successful currently, and God willing, we'll be successful in the future. Because,
sure.
Thank you, inshallah. Because then if you take that kind of a DNA of design and thought process into the spaces that we habitate, that we work within, that we study within on a daily basis, that will create the value that people sometimes don't understand. People walk into our buildings, whether it's on Fisher Island, the Four Seasons in Surfside, the Four Seasons in Fort Lauderdale, and they are ready, willing, and able to pay a top dollar because it feels good, because the light is good, because the energy they say is good. But really what it is, it's oriented towards the wellness of the individual.
No, and you said it amazingly over there, and I gotta say that every single one of your projects transmits that tranquility, that great energy, and it's also because it's built for that individual. So one thing I wanted to say, because you mentioned that that's one of the reasons that yourself and the business has become so successful over the years, but I gotta say that I've met a lot of great architects throughout all my years, and what I found that really differentiates yourself, not only what you said, which is very emotional and very true, is also the branding, because there's a lot of great architects out there that nobody knows about them. And I gotta say that your brand, everywhere I see it, it already transmits your designs, your tranquility, your energy, your professionalism, and your content is on point. So I think that branding is also something that differentiates yourself from everybody else.
Branding is very important. Look, when I grew up in Minneapolis, Minnesota, people did not know what Kobi or Karp comes from, right? They didn't know what kind of a name that is. Is it a cheese, Kobe cheese, or is it a carp the fish? Is it Kobe beef? Is it Kobe Bryant? You know, people just don't know. Yeah. And so what we try to do is, in the name, create the brand based on what it is that we are designing about. If we have a story to tell, and we can put it concisely and coherently for the community to understand, then the branding ties itself to it. It's like you lifted the sketchbook. This sketchbook was done when I studied monasteries and cloisters around the Alps in 1986. That's the year on the back that I sketched right here, 86, 86, 96, 2006, 2016, right? That's 35 years ago. And if you carry that kind of a thought process and a DNA, multi-year, multi-decade, and you're clear in your heart and in your lungs, and in your mind about how it is that you're going to project it, it's very important. Look, I happen to have a name, Kobi Karp, that now, you know, when I grew up with people named Johnson and Peterson in Minneapolis, Minnesota, you know, I was unique and different about it, is that Kobi Karp, for many people, rhymes, and they don't know if it's one person or two people. They just don't. We are a company, and I'm only as good as the people who support me. And thank God, I have a lot of good people for many, many years who have supported the brand and the thought process. It happens also that Kobi Karp rhymes with names like Coca-Cola, but at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. What matters is the story that you have to tell. The story that you have to tell is what's going to continue to live beyond the capacity of the building, beyond the capacity of the community, beyond the capacity of what we've been here in Miami. And that's why it's really interesting, it's humbling, and it's enlightening to be walk in every day and to come and be part of this, because it's a part of a charrette, it's a part of a community, it's a part of many, many people working together.
I love it.
For a long time.
I love it. And not just that, but I gotta tell you, when you said about evolving, because you've been evolving and adapting to all these new trends, especially the way that people consume the content, the people that they consume, the new way that these projects are presented is through social media, and you are very active on all social media platforms. The content is great, and you're also shifting towards the NFT space with the cryptocurrencies, and I gotta say the non-fungible tokens. I mean, we were recently at New York for the NFT conference, and when I look into your business, in comparison to any other architect, you're already there. You've got the Achitecture, which is a 65 collection, right?
Yes, sir. We believe that presenting our NFTs for the community to buy, to participate in, is a benefit. Because then people can have it, they can own it, they can share it, they can expand it. It's like when we did this book, right? When somebody came and said, Kobi, the sketchbook that you have, that you made in 1986 is sitting on a drawer. Give it to me and I'll make 1,000. What happened? 1,000 just got vacuumed up. The same thing with the Asulin book.
It's the Asulin, amazing book, by the way.
It tells a story about Miami, about historical preservation, about restoration, about quality of life. That's really what it talks about. And that is important message that people want to get interested in. And I believe that NFTs, I believe that the internet are open forums for people to present ideas and to carry the ideas forward in an open fashion. People don't have to pay for it. It's for free. And then if they want to, they can get into it.
And by the way, for those that are watching and listening, I mean, this is very clever. These are 65 draws or sketches from what was the classical architecture to the modern. And again, these are just the sketches that you were doing. It's unbelievable. Very clever and a very good way to open it to the world, to, you know, own a piece of it.
That's the way it should be.
Unbelievable. Now, the last thing I will tell you, because this is the question that we ask every one of our guests, and I want to know your answer. What is luxury to you?
Luxury is healthy, well-being, quality of life. Luxury, by definition, is, look, we all come here the same way to this world, and we all leave this world the same way. And nobody can take anything with them. You can't take this, you can't take this. But while we are here, for that short period of time, is if we can have a good quality of life, where we are studying, where we are learning, where we are being inspired, where we are being healthy inside in many ways and outside, is what we desire to do. So for me, that's the ultimate luxury. It is not about how much money you have or how many, that's really irrelevant. At the end of the day, is the quality of life. And some people, it's their personal relationships. Some people, it's their relationship with their dog or their animal. Sometimes it's a relationship with your parents. Many people, like me, it's my relationship with my children, right? For me, that is the ability to understand where I came from and to potentially see where they will be going once I'm not around.
Couldn't say it better. That's amazing.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you again, Kobi.
Anytime.
Appreciate it.
Welcome to
Sure,
Miami.
yeah, thank you. I'm sure we'll be doing some good stuff. Thanks everybody for watching. Make sure to follow him, check what he's up to, because he's very inspirational.
Great guy.
Thank you.